Some researchers suggest the ancient Egyptians may have had a secret blueprint for returning from the edge of death. Could our ancestors have known life and death secrets now lost to us? What if they developed a formula for returning from the brink? Some call this concept Karest, written KRST, each letter a symbol, each symbol a key. Karest is seen as an ancient instruction manual for resurrection, encoded with hieroglyphic and scientific symbols. In this view, Karest, written Karest, referred to the anointed mummy, ritually prepared and consecrated for resurrection, not just any corpse, but one readied for the journey back to life. This suggests the Egyptians may not have seen death as final. Instead, they viewed it as a state from which one could, under the right conditions, return. The formula is broken into 4 components, each represented by a Greek letter and its hieroglyphic symbol. The first is K, symbolized by She and the Ka hieroglyph. The Ka was the life force, the vital spark animating the body. Without it, the body was an empty shell. In physics, She can represent electromotive force, the energy that initiates movement, much like the Ka animates the body. Both stand for the essential energy that brings systems to life. The first step was to call back this life essence, the soul needing to return to its physical home. Next is R, represented by Rho and the Rho hieroglyph. This is the vessel, the body, prepared to receive the life force. The body had to be cleansed and preserved, a sacred temple for the spirit's return. The third letter, S, is Sigma, linked to the deity Aset and her hieroglyph. The serpent symbolizes healing and transformation, the primal energy that animates all things. This is the act of awakening the powerful serpentine energy, the engine of resurrection. Finally, T is Tau, represented by the Tau cross and the loaf hieroglyph. Tau symbolizes life and resurrection, and torque is a twisting force. This final step is the rising and spinning of the awakened energy, reintegrating spirit and flesh, and completing the resurrection process as encoded in Karest. Where would such a profound and delicate procedure take place? The ancients didn't have modern hospitals or sterile laboratories. Instead, they built structures of immense power and purpose. We look at the Great Pyramids of Egypt or the ancient mounds found across the globe and we see tombs. But what if they were more than that? What if these were not just places for the dead but resurrection machines? Places designed to harness the energies of the earth and the cosmos. Their specific shapes and alignments may have been engineered to create the perfect environment for the Karest formula to work its magic, each letter represented by a powerful symbol. She, Ka, Rho, Sigma, and Tau. Imagine a person near death, or perhaps just having passed, being carried deep into the heart of a pyramid. Special tools are placed within a special chamber, like the King's Chamber in the Great Pyramid of Giza. This chamber was built with incredible precision from granite, a stone known for its crystalline structure and piezoelectric properties. This means it can generate an electric field under pressure. The sheer weight of the pyramid pressing down on this chamber could have created a unique energetic field inside. This wasn't a tomb, it was a resuscitation chamber, a womb for rebirth, symbolized by Tau, the loaf, a gateway designed to amplify and focus energy. The process would likely involve more than just the architecture. Inside these sacred spaces, practitioners would engage in specific rituals. Chanting is a powerful tool. The human voice can create vibrations, and when many voices chant in harmony, they can create a powerful resonant frequency, embodying Sigma, the force of sound and transformation. It is believed that certain tones and sounds can interact with the human body and the surrounding environment. Perhaps these chants were tuned to the specific frequency of the chamber, the stone, and the person's own body, helping to coax the Ka, She, the life force, Rho, back from its journey away from the physical world. This wasn't just about sound. The air within these chambers would be thick with the scent of sacred herbs and tinctures. Plants have always been our allies in healing. Certain herbs, like myrrh and frankincense, when burned as incense or prepared as oils, can have profound effects on the human body and consciousness. These substances could have been used to purify the Rho, the physical vessel, making it ready. She, the key to awakening. They might also have helped the practitioners enter a heightened state of awareness, allowing them to better direct the flow of energy and guide the spirit back. The mound or pyramid, therefore, was a complete system, a holistic healing machine, encoded with the symbols Xi, Rho, Sigma, and Tau, each one a gateway to the mysteries of resurrection. This ancient practice, which seems so mystical to us, may have been rooted in a deep understanding of the laws of nature, laws they expressed through both language and symbol. Think about the concept of resonance. We see it in physics all the time. A singer can shatter a glass by hitting the exact right note. This happens because the frequency of the sound wave matches the natural resonant frequency of the glass, causing its vibrations to amplify until it breaks. What if the ancients applied this same principle to the human body, what they called Tao? What if the symbol Shi and the hieroglyph Ka had a specific frequency, and the chanting and the chamber's design were all meant to sing that person back to life? This connects deeply to the ancient art of alchemy, where sigma represented the vital energy. We often think of alchemy as a foolish attempt to turn lead into gold, but its true purpose was transformation, primarily the transformation of the self. The alchemists spoke of the prima materia, the first matter from which all things were made. They believed that by purifying this matter, they could achieve perfection. Among the most mysterious substances found in the pyramids is a powdery monoatomic gold. Ancient texts and modern experiments suggest this substance possesses remarkable properties, including the demonstrated ability to levitate when exposed to certain frequencies. Some believe that monoatomic gold is not just a physical material, but an interdimensional elixir, capable of shifting consciousness and even allowing the body to transition into other realms. In the context of Karest, it may have been used to facilitate the passage between life, death, and rebirth, acting as a bridge for the soul. The Karest process is a form of spiritual alchemy, with Tao, depicted as the loaf symbol in hieroglyphics, standing for transformation. Through the application of energy, Rho, Sigma, and divine will, Shi or Ka, it is transformed, not into gold, but back into a living, breathing vessel for the soul. This knowledge may have been the seed for what later became Greek science. Think of Pythagoras, who believed that the universe was built on numbers and musical harmony, or Plato, who spoke of a world of ideal forms that our physical world merely imitates. These ideas didn't appear out of nowhere. They may have been echoes of an older, more practical wisdom inherited from places like Egypt, where symbols like Ka, Rho, Sigma, and Tau bridge the worlds of spirit and matter. The Greek philosophers may have taken the practical, spiritual technology of KRST and translated it into the language of abstract philosophy and mathematics, preserving the core concepts while losing the hands-on application. The entire process suggests a universe that is far more interconnected and responsive than we typically assume. It implies that consciousness, energy, and matter, Shi, Sigma, Rho, are not separate things but different aspects of a single reality. The chanting, the herbs, the sacred geometry of the pyramids, all of it was designed to manipulate this unified field, using the language of symbols and transformation. They were pulling on the very strings of creation, using sound, intention, and natural substances, guided by the symbols Shi, Rho, Sigms, and Tau, to influence the state of a human being, to call a spirit back across the threshold we call death. It was a science of the soul, a physics of life itself, expressed in both symbol and ritual, from the ancient world to our own. The journey of this powerful idea did not end with the pharaohs. As cultures and languages evolved, so did the symbols and words used to describe these profound concepts. The term Karest is not just a word, but a sequence of powerful symbols, each with deep meaning in both physics and ancient language. When we add the letter iota, we get Christ, which completes the phonetic spelling and introduces another layer of symbolism. Notably, the letter X, or Chi, has also come to represent Christ itself, as seen in the abbreviation Xmas for Christmas, a tradition that highlights the symbolic evolution of X as a spiritual marker across cultures. This is likely not a coincidence. The hieroglyphs for K, R, I, S, and T align with the Greek letters Shi, Rho, Iota, Sigma, and Tau, and in later Christian symbolism X Chi as a direct stand-in for Christ. Early Christians in Egypt, known as the Copts, would have recognized the Tau symbol, both as the Greek Tau and the Egyptian loaf, as a sign of life and resurrection. The Greek word for the Anointed One, Christos, was used to translate the Hebrew word Messiah. The sigma in Egyptian writing is often doubled, representing the Kemetic goddess Auset, who embodies the sacred feminine power. This double S is a direct reference to Auset aka Isis in Greek mythology, a central figure in resurrection myths. The phonetic and symbolic similarity between Karest and Christ is striking, especially when we see Shi, Ka, as the force of transformation. Over time, the Greek letter X, or chi, became a shorthand for Christ, further cementing the connection between ancient symbols and Christian tradition. The transition from Karest to Christ represents a significant shift in meaning, with rho symbolizing the flow of spirit. The original Karest was a process, a hands-on technique for achieving resurrection for an individual, often a king or pharaoh. It was a practical, spiritual technology, embodied in the sequence of symbols: G, rho, iota, sigma, tau. In physics, iota is also a symbol for current, representing flow and connection, which adds another dimension to the meaning. When the concept was adopted and transformed into Christ, it became a title for a single, unique individual. The idea of resurrection was no longer seen as a repeatable process available to the initiated. Instead, it became a singular, miraculous event performed by a divine savior for all of humanity. The practical how-to was replaced by a faith-based believe in. This change reflects a broader shift in human consciousness. The ancient world was often focused on cyclical time and repeatable rituals. The goal was to maintain harmony and tap into eternal processes. The later worldview that gave rise to Christianity was more linear. It saw history as a story with a beginning, a middle, and an end, centered around a pivotal event and a central figure. The power to overcome death was externalized, placed in the hands of a single savior rather than being an internal potential to be awakened within each person through discipline and ritual. Yet the core idea remains tantalizingly present, encoded in the very symbols themselves, and the enduring use of X as a symbol for Christ. The promise of life after death, the triumph of the spirit over the decay of the flesh, is central to both Karest and Christ. Perhaps the ancient knowledge was not lost, but simply hidden in plain sight, encoded within our most sacred stories and the symbols we still use, including the letter X, which continues to bridge ancient and modern spiritual traditions. The details may have changed, but the fundamental human yearning for eternity and the belief in a force that can conquer death persists. The secrets of KRST and now KRST remind us that our ancestors may have held a key Ka, Rho, Iota, Sigma, Tau, and the ever-present X to one of life's greatest mysteries, a key that we are only now beginning to rediscover. The story of KRST and its transformation into Christ and Christ doesn't just connect ancient Egypt and early Christianity. It echoes through countless other cultures and eras, each adding its own layer to the tapestry of resurrection myths. In the Far East, similar themes appear in the legends of immortal sages and the cycles of rebirth described in Hindu and Buddhist traditions. In the Americas, the myth of the dying and rising god is woven into the stories of Quetzalcoatl and the maize deities, whose deaths and rebirths mirrored the agricultural cycle. Across the world, these tales share a common thread: the belief that death is not the end, but a doorway to a transformed existence. The symbols may shift, the languages may change, but the essence of the story remains. It's as if humanity, across continents and millennia, has been trying to remember the same secret, a pathway hidden in ritual, myth, and symbol. Today, as we decode these ancient messages, we find that the wisdom of Karest is not just a relic of the past. It invites us to look within, to seek out our own transformation, and to recognize the cycles of renewal that shape every aspect of life. The journey continues as each generation rediscovers the eternal dance between life, death, and resurrection, a dance written in the stars, the soil, and the deepest parts of the human heart.